me at Ready for the Truth on Facebook.
Okay. It's your book, right?
Yeah, that's my book's page.
Still doing numbers?
It's doing all right.
What's the name of the book again?
Spiritual Warfare.
Make sure y'all cop that on Amazon, man.
Yes.
It's very necessary. Absolutely. But like we said, spoiler alert, for those just tuning in or watching me on Facebook Live, we're about to talk about Black Panther. She's dressed in all black.
You
with
see
the fro.
The fro is out.
Look at Mad Angela Davis right now.
So, but we need to talk about Black Panther because this movie has now done $700 million.
$700
in the box
million.
office. This is its second week.
Obviously relevant.
Very relevant.
So, my first question is, when you walked out of the theater, what was your first, what were your emotions? What was really going through your mind when you first walked out?
When I walked out of the theater, I was just happy. I thought that I was satisfied with the movie. There were a lot of themes that we've seen as Black people that were touched on. A lot of things that needed to be touched on. And I just like the fact that there was a lot of unity. We saw people coming together, our people coming together, working towards a common goal. And then we also saw that we can be leaders in technology. We can be leaders in these fields, and we don't have to see the same stereotypical roles that we see constantly. So that was a very positive thing for me to see. And I just felt hopeful for the youth that was looking at the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of hype. And anybody who knows me, I don't believe the hype. So I was like, get ready to be
We had this conversation.
Get ready to be disappointed, boss player, when you get in here. But I was hopeful. I put on my dashiki,
I dressed up for it as well.
My little Royal African cloth, straight from Ghana. Shout out my Ghanaian family watching right now, back home in my village, Ziope, where my dad is from.
Nice.
So, in Africa, you are where your father's from. So I'm always welcome there. I love y'all. But anyway, I was, after the end of the movie, like you said, I was thoroughly impressed. Like, wow, I feel good right now. I feel good about life. Finally, a movie that represents Africans, and we don't look all crazy. First of all, they had no flies on nobody's face.
No,
They wasn't asking for no 25 cents a day.
There was none of that.
I was like, oh, shoot, dignified. This looks like my family. Dignified, very regal, making jokes. Like a little sister.
Yeah, this was something that was positive to see. There were a lot of themes that were touched on, like I said, but I was just excited that finally kids who are 8 or 9, younger, are seeing themselves now. They're seeing themselves in a different light, and I thought that was positive.
And the first thing that jumps out to me that is the most talked about, most controversial, and the most polarizing would be, the character of Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
He, in some people's eyes, he was a villain. In other people's eyes, he was a hero. Now I gotta ask you, hero or villain? What side are you on?
I saw a lot of where Killmonger was coming from. He is a person who was kind of left out. He was left out. He dealt with struggling in America, and he saw the hardship, and he developed a lot of resentment because of that. So where he was coming from, I understood. How he decided to apply it was the problem. If he was talking about, okay, let's not hurt people, but let's apply the Wakandan way to the rest of the world without hurting everyone, then okay, I could see that. But he was talking about some other stuff that was a little bit, okay, buddy, He was an imperialist. He wanted to take over the world. He used that famous line. I forget which emperor said it, but he's like, the sun will never set on the Wakandan Empire. Mm-hmm.
The thing I didn't like the most about him was when he burned all those flowers.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Those magic flowers and grabbed the lady by the throat. And threw her to the ground.
He was doing a lot of that.
That's not befitting a king at all.
Not at all.
So ideology aside, he had some morality issues. Shot his own girl in the forehead. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Yeah.
He really didn't value human life like at all.
And then he had all the markings of all the people that he's hurt
killed,
before.
You know, so he represented the imperialists. You know, he probably would represent. I think in terms of symbolism, the way in African societies, if there's a righteous ruler, like say a Kwame Nkrumah or Lumumba, or Lumumba from the Congo, or Nkrumah from Ghana in the past, and they're Pan-Africanists, or even Gaddafi in more recent times in Libya, they're Pan-Africanists, and they're about unifying Africa and creating power for Africans. They'll send somebody to kill them and put another stool pigeon in their place to do what they want them to do. They've been doing this historically throughout colonialism. So to refute that would just be to refute the truth. It's not conspiracy theories. It's known fact. People have come out and admitted it. The guy who was there when they killed Lumumba admitted it. You know, one of the soldiers in the room. You know, it's known. You know, so I think Killmonger kind of may have represented that in a way. The imperialist that comes over trying to change their ways in one aspect, because he wasn't entirely about the European and the Western issues and ideology. That's not what he was about at all. He was about overthrowing that. But
he wasn't.
He was trained by the Europeans and the imperialists. And that became his methodology. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, to me, he could never be a righteous ruler in that aspect. You know, because by historically speaking, Africans have never been imperialists. That's never been their goal. You know, like we are in Africa, it's tropical. We got all the food, we got all the resources. Like we're happy here. We don't need to take over America. We had an explorer from Mali go to America before Columbus did, trade with them, and come back. Like, yo, it was nice meeting y'all. Here's some stuff. Give me some stuff. We'll be back later, man. It was good, man. Y'all cool, man. And that was it. Imagine that.
It's one of those things where there were many layers to this, because no character was completely you could sympathize with all of the characters. Killmonger was one of them. You could kind of sympathize with him. And towards the end, I know many people who said, I wish there was a way that they could have probably unified and worked it out. So
it would have been nice if you could add a hybrid of both of them.
Yes. Because I agree with that. What did you think about what T'Challa decided to do
at the end?
I
wasn't rocking with it. Wait, we gonna build a science center, bro? Like, we gotta do something stronger than that, man.
Well, honestly, I appreciated that, because he was saying, let's teach our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Let's teach them.
But the white people can get the benefit of that with a lot of knowledge too. You realize that, right? He didn't say it was gonna be exclusively for black people.
He didn't say that.
Exactly. So it's
he didn't say that.
White folk winning again. Like, not really rocking with that.
I thought that it was going to be focused on.
Don't worry. I love white people too. I love y'all too, man.
Well, speaking of that,
I had to say that.
Disney actually donated $1 million to help with STEM programs in black communities, but $1 million, a lot of people were like, that seems a little bit too low. What's that about? Why not more money?
You can't sniff at $1 million. Don't do that, people. Come on, man.
Well,
$1 million is a lot to anybody.
Start.
Yeah,
it is a start.
That's going to change lives, man. Chill out.
It's a start.
Let's encourage this. I mean, I wanted to go off on a whole other tangent. I don't think we have time, but that just makes me think. Like, should Africa even take foreign aid? And that was an aspect of the movie, too, is the whole reversal.
Yes, because they didn't take any aid.
They were more advanced than everyone else.
They didn't take any aid.
Which was such a nice change of narrative of Africans. They were more advanced than the rest of the world. Instead of needing help, they could help the world. And putting them in that position of power was one of my favorite things about the movie.
But this is actually quite true, because a lot of the natural resources that the world uses and the world exploits comes from Africa. Diamonds, cobalt.
All the minerals in the Congo for those cell phones.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, this wasn't a stretch at all.
We definitely, Africa as a continent definitely has the most natural resources out of any continent.
Exactly.
So we actually are the most plentiful continent, but it's just historically speaking, what happened through colonialism, is being used by other people. Like what's happening right now in the Congo is a travesty.
Yeah.
You got China in there, you got Europeans in there, you got Americans in there, you got just wrecking every day over minutes. Oh, who's gonna own what mine?
Oh, yeah, just
AK-47s, AR-15s. Talk about assault weapons.
Yes.
Like, kids getting killed, women getting killed.
Sudan, what's going on
getting
there
raped,
as well.
all that stuff, So, not unlike the diamond trade in my mother's country, Sierra Leone.
And so that brings us back to this question. So now that Black Panther has been seen and watched plenty of times by our community, what are we going to do after Black Panther?
What I would like to see first and foremost is something cultural in that it brings African immigrants and Black people who have generations of family in this country, slave descendants, come together. Because a lot of people outside our race don't know there's division there. We all remember getting called African booty scratcher back in middle school and high school. You so black this, you so dark that. All that colorism got to stop. I hope this film can. And it's funny, people are like, oh, it's a movie, it's just a movie. It's like, movies are important. That's how America was built, through these narratives and through this propaganda. So if you can get something that can flip that around, that's so vital.
Exactly.
And it's just an easy way to do it. So why not change the conversation?
Exactly. So, and this is what I always said. I said these type of things start conversations. It shouldn't end a conversation, but it starts a conversation. So a young kid who saw the movie walks away and says, that was really cool. I want to be from Wakanda. And they can say, well, this is actually something that was in the past. You come from royalty. You come from a rich, rich history of kings and queens. Let me sit you down and talk to you about it. Let's open a history book and have a conversation. And that's how things start to change. And unifying everyone from the Caribbean, Africa, America, South America, we need to just unify and see ourselves as the same. We see too much division among each other. And that's the point.
And unfortunately, a lot of that history isn't in history books because, as the old African proverb says, the tail of the hunt will always glorify, the lion and the hunter will always glorify the hunter,
Yeah.
And we are lions, we are kings, and that's been wiped out from history. Revisionist history, like one of my favorite guests we ever had, Solomon Combination, would talk about revisionist history, leaving out the truth, and that, they wouldn't allow them to speak their language to each other. They made sure they separated people from the same tribe. They mixed blood. And so there's no way of knowing exactly who your ancestors are. You can feel it. You can speak to them, but you really don't know. I don't know what that feels like. That's just my perspective because my dad's a historian in my family, and we know my history traced back generations. And I do come from African royalty, and I know his name, Chief Botry, and the chief is chosen from my family and my village. And I know these people, and I've been to the shrine. I know that. And to not have that in this racist society, I don't know who I would be if I would be strong enough to withstand this programming to really put me down and really make you hate yourself is what they want, and oppress you, make you feel so low you'll do nothing but whatever they tell you to do. So I encourage every Black person to just claim royalty as their lineage. Like, claim it as yours. It could very well be the truth. So embrace it. It
is very possible. And you can start your own path, like right now. You can just say, I am this, and I'm going to walk this way, and I'm going to act this way, and I'm going to respect my brother and my sister. And that's how it could go from there. And that's how you start. So regardless of the past, you can start today to start to unify and make a difference.